Hello, Sean. On the move, it's been, speculated for a while about the possibility. What was the original hesitance and why was now the time to pull the trigger?
I don't know if there's ever an original hesitance. I'm not sure where that narrative came from, to be honest, Michael. I think this is something that you do your due diligence on. We're always doing our due diligence around the league. What players may be available, what players we would like to target, and so forth. And the timing was right. The timing was right for us. And fortunately, anytime you get an opportunity to acquire or try to acquire a player of this caliber, it's something you've got to look hard at. And that's certainly something we did. And the process sped up very, very rapidly and very quickly over the last sort of 48 hours.
Malika Andrews, ESPN.
Hey, Sean. When initially Kevin and Kyrie came to Brooklyn, there was this discussion about folding them into the Brooklyn Nets culture that had been built over years. And now the coach that helped build that is gone. Many of the players that helped build that are gone. Is it at a point where you guys are now looking to build a new culture, or are you looking at guys like Joe to be the standard bearers in that way to continue what you started?
Yeah, hi, Malika. A great question. And to be quite frank, I don't think anybody has the exact answer to that. I think, as I've said before, your culture's got to be constantly evolving. The minute we are stagnant, or anybody for that matter, in any industry says, hey, our culture is what it is and it's fixed and it's done, I think that's going to be the demise, because other teams, other franchises, other industries will catch up to you. And I think for us, our goal ultimately is to put out a championship contender, and have some sustainable success. That's what we want to do. And hence that's what brought us to this opportunity now. And that's all the different building blocks along the way, and how your culture still continues to evolve, and how it has evolved over 5 years. What we set out for 5 years ago with our culture was that it was the buzzword. We want to build a culture. We want to build a culture. And I think that's still true to this day. We still want to build a culture. The players may look a little differently. Some of the staff looks a little different, and so forth. But we have multiple culture drivers here, and that's what we're constantly looking for. And they will hopefully take us to the next level of where this franchise needs to be and wants to be.
Brian Lewis, New York Post.
Hey, these trio of stars, I mean, two of them, some would contend, have been kind of high maintenance over the past week or so. I'm curious, how much of a challenge is that to get three outsized personalities meshing and defending? And then when you have a rookie coach, I guess, how much of an ask is that for Steve?
Yeah, look, I think whenever you're meshing personalities, I think we've got to wait and see how this all fits on the floor and so forth. I think these guys have given us the right answers. They've said, hey, they want to play together. They can see this fitting. And I think they're at a time in their careers. I don't want to speak for each one of them, because I'll let them have their own voice and their own narrative around this. But I think they understand that there's, without a doubt, going to be some nights where one or two need to sacrifice for the other and so forth. But I think they're all looking for that common goal. We're all looking for that common goal, as I've said before, is to be the last team standing. And I think when you have a group that is willing to sacrifice and play hard, play together on the court, and they already have a relationship, a prior relationship to this. So I think that will help. We're not bringing guys in here that, the level of play that they are, that don't know each other from the past. So they have previous relationships will certainly help here.
Bruce Beck, NBC New York.
Sean, you have talked in the past about not marketing the future for the present. So what changed here?
Again, I think it's a building step to where we are. And, it's a tough decision without a doubt. When you're sitting here saying, look, we're going to have to trade away X amount of picks and to be quite frank, give away players that I truly loved. Our franchise loved those guys. So there's a huge thank you to Caris and Jarrett and Rodion and Torian for everything they've done. And, the narrative has been that their fingerprints are all over this. It's been over this, this building, this franchise for as long as they've been here, and they'll continue to be part of our family. And, but again, we have to make these hard decisions. it's never easy. It certainly wasn't easy yesterday when I had to talk to these players at the end of the day. And I don't want to make light of that situation, that it's, well, we had to do this just to win a championship and so forth. There comes a lot of thought and a lot of process went into this, and a lot of collaboration through a variety of levels, from ownership to the coaching staff, front office. Everybody had a say in this, and we don't take light that we had to make some pretty tough decisions, without a doubt.
Greg Logan, Newsday.
Sean, in that same vein about the future, you inherited a situation where you were bankrupt in terms of draft picks, and now you've given up control of the next 7 years of first picks. Why did you feel that was worth it? And second of all, did the Dinwiddie injury impact your ability to hang on to some of those picks?
Yeah, well, I would say this. We're not bankrupt right now, so there's still multiple ways to build. I think this group has shown some resilience in how to build, and we've continued to build, and we will continue to build with or without the picks that we may or may not have now, and we'll show resilience through all of this. I think it's very unfortunate, obviously, Spencer's injury. But we also need to capitalize, on the window and what's right in front of us right now, where that's why some of these decisions have to be made when they have to be made. And, we're looking forward to getting this group out there. As far as Spencer's concerned, his rehab is progressing well, and we wish him obviously nothing but the best, and keeping a close eye on him, under our watchful eye for sure.
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Hey, Sean. Steve had said throughout preseason camp how, he hadn't really gone heavy on installing an offense and spoke more on the defensive side with things. Do you think you guys are better equipped to kind of bring a caliber like James's player on, given that you don't have to reinvent the wheel and overhaul a system? The wheel was still being built, so to speak.
Yeah, sure. I think we know what James is capable, on the court. We've seen that when you're bringing in, MVP, first NBA team caliber player. He knows what he's capable of doing. And then when, we've had conversations with him, and, he's so eager to get on the court with these guys and be part of this and start fresh. So there's an excitement. I know our group is excited. Our coaching staff is excited. Again, when we brought in Kai and Kevin, you're learning from them. You're learning how they want to play, because there's no defense that they haven't seen already. And the same thing for James. So we're going to be learning from James, and, he'll be adding his piece, his thoughts and process to Steve, and helping Steve and the coaching staff out there. But there's already a prior relationship there as well.
Sean, did you, I don't know what the word is, if find it alarming, or did it draw any concern when you heard Harden essentially call out his teammates on the Rockets, saying that they were not good enough the other night? And how much with that do you consult with Mike D'Antoni on your staff after him just coaching Harden the last couple of years?
Well, it's certainly beneficial having Mike, and somebody who knows, James very well and has coached him for the last couple of years for sure. So, I don't read too much into that. I think, again, I don't want to speak for James or any of our players for why they say the things they say. Look, they've got their own voices, they've got their own brands, and these guys are grown men, and there's reasonings behind everything. I think, we've certainly weighed in all the intel and all the factors about, you hope to make the best decision and bring in the right people and the right fits and so forth. But again, what we're looking for is, we have some high expectations. I'm not going to wane from that, or that's why we brought in who we have here, and that includes the coaching staff as well. So it's a group, a combined effort of collaboration between players and coaches, without a doubt.
Brian Mahoney, Associated Press.
Hi, Sean. One, do you know when James will be eligible to play for you guys? And two, both he and Kyrie have kind of maybe not shown a full commitment to playing basketball this year. When you make a trade like this, that's certainly an all-in kind of move. How do you know you've got guys you can really go all in with?
Well, we would hope James will be able to play as soon as all the players involved in this pass their physicals. So we know James is landing He'll be in Brooklyn today, so we'll go through our physicals here, and hopefully he'll be cleared to play as soon as possible. Again, regarding all these guys' commitment to play, I mean, all I can tell you is I've enjoyed the conversation I had with James last night, and I look forward to getting to know him, just as our players and staff certainly do. And I like what I heard, and I think he's looking for a fresh start. I think these guys are going to have to sacrifice, without a doubt, but they're also going to push us. They're going to push our franchise and hopefully take us to where we need to go.
Taylor Rooks, Turner Sports.
Hey, so I know there's been, a lot of discussion about the personalities on the team, how everybody's going to mesh, but can you tell me what kind of conversations you maybe had with the guys specifically about that?
Taylor, are you the guys on the current roster, or are you talking about James?
Current roster and James.
Sure. I think some of those conversations certainly need to be private, but at the end of the day, I'm going to talk to, our players about adding, whether it's a deal like this of this magnitude, certainly involves, collaboration, and, they understand what's at stake here. Everybody's raised their hand and said, look, we're in, we know what we're shooting for here. And that includes, James, the new player. He knows what's at stake. And I think, again, I'm also banking on his prior relationship with Kevin. I think those guys, have likely stayed in contact, over the course of the last, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. So they know each other very well. They know, and we're going to bank on that coming here and hopefully speeding up that process.